Hello out there in cryptocurrency land. How is everybody doing? Bitcoin and Ethereum have been very benign here as of late. We've really been floating around maybe 2 or 3% a day for the past couple of days. And so it's been kind of a nice rest. We've just been really sitting up here. Hasn't been a ton of selling. There's been some, but not a ton. Been a little bit of buying. So I think the market's really neutral right here. I don't know if it's waiting for the next shoe to drop or exactly what it's waiting for. Someone's gonna force this in one direction or another. These don't stay sideways for very long. Typically, the U.S. market tends to make it rise, and the China market tends to make it fall. At least that's been the trend as of late. So we'll see if that continues. Yeah. So Bitcoin not doing much. Let's check out Ethereum. Kind of much of the same here in Ethereum. Should move that trend line for you. So a little bit more bearish in Ethereum than Bitcoin, although it did make this new trend line in this census high at $400. It is over here sitting, just hanging out, really not doing much. Over here, we still see some red volume pops. We do have a couple of green ones right here. This is one of the topping bars. This large volume is a topping bar, so that's not necessarily bullish. And this is a continuation bar, so that is bullish. So we kind of have, just like with Bitcoin, a neutral pattern. Really not much happening here. If you guys are trying to force trades, it's going to be very difficult in a neutral market like this, or sometimes called a choppy market, although we don't have too much chop. It's really just kind of neutral. You don't want to force trades. You just want to sit tight. You want to use this time to look at the charts and see what's constructive, see what's not. Okay, stay away from those ones that aren't constructive, even if they pop 200%, because they could cave in just as easily. So you want to spend this time doing some research and maybe taking a little bit of time off from the charts. Let's just breeze through some of these here. Bitcoin, Ethereum, we saw those not doing too much. Bitcoin Cash had a little run up here today. Had a little run up during the live stream that we were doing at about noon. It's given a little bit of that back on some decent volume as well. So we just kind of have to wait and see what happens here. Most everything is in a wait and see pattern. Ripple not doing a whole lot here, kind of a wait and see pattern. Same with Litecoin. Litecoin tested this trend line a couple more times and it's still been failing every single time. I have a little bit of a feeling that Litecoin, if we do start to pop up to the upside, that Litecoin may give us a little bit of an early indicator just because it's so tightly coupled to its trend line. But that being said, doesn't mean a whole lot because, I mean, Bitcoin's pretty tightly coupled at this point too. I mean, it's not that far away. So what's Dash up to? Kind of more of the same. Dash is just kind of holding this trend line. We tested this yesterday as well. IOTA, a little more of the same, a little bit of weakness here, but it had this really nice pop up above 50. So really nice pop above 50 to 60. There's 20% for you. Hey man, you can't get mad at a 20% move in anything. NEM, NEM just a lot, really still a lot of red in NEM. We got this one green bar right here, but this one is kind of towards a high again, so kind of bearish. Still living underneath this declining trend line. Monero kind of the same, but doesn't even have the high flag pattern. It has a larger flag pattern. Again, just very neutral. There's not a lot happening here. But just for fun's sake, I want you to, let's look at something that has been happening for those of you that haven't been aware. Internet of People. Holy crap. This thing ran 500% when I mentioned it 2 days ago. But still, 500% movement in any coin at this particular moment in time is phenomenal. And to be honest with you, if I go like down to the 15-minute chart, it doesn't even necessarily look like it's battered and beaten to hell. This thing could consolidate again and continue upward. This is kind of a micro cap coin, however, so again, it is pretty dangerous. Anytime you have moves like this, this gets faded 30%. That's quite a drastic move down. But anyway, this has been, I kind of thought it was, we watched it do this, and I mentioned it, I think, in yesterday's video, and then it was kind of sitting over here. Did a little cup with handle, which I wasn't up for that one. And yeah, then it just started floating higher, and then it put this pop in today at kind of when I was getting home from work. I'm like, what is going on with this thing? Man, just this thing has been insane. Insane. Remember yesterday I was talking about how nice this pattern looked? You guys need to keep an eye out for really nice patterns. When I talk about chop, when I talk about it's not a constructive pattern, when I talk about things of that nature, any kind of descriptive word, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something like this. Okay, I didn't know this was going to pop 500%, but I put this in the video because the pattern was constructive and orderly, and that's what we're looking for. You know, we don't want to be in in coins that are just chopping around like this token. Like, this isn't a coin you want to be in. Don't trade this coin. Don't do it. You're just asking for problems. So you want to find coins that are trending. You want to find coins that are doing something. This was mentioned in the chat earlier today by our buddy Frederick, who's always in with some good coins. And he mentioned this coin, and you know what? Looking at it, it looks like a pretty good chart. You kind of have a little declining trend line here. Maybe we get another move to the upside. Who knows? But you know, this is a pretty constructive pattern. This is what you want to look for. High volume pop with a consolidation. All right, so IOP had that high volume pop with a consolidation. You know, some of these other coins, someone mentioned AMP earlier, high pop, consolidation. You know, these are the ones we want to be looking at. High pop, consolidation. You don't want to be involved in this choppiness, because by the time you even see it, you know, by the time you see this move in rise, it's already going to be here, unless you have some kind of alert set up. And then if you can get your order set up, it's going to be here, and then you're going to come up and wait for it to break this high, and it doesn't, and then it caves down, and then you're back in the negative. So, you know, you want to avoid this choppiness, and you want to see when we get into these clear skies. These clear skies is where you want to live. So there's my spiel about that. But anyway, so Bitcoin and Ethereum is kind of in a holding pattern. Wait and see. There is some nice sell. We're actually in the 15-minute chart now. So as you can see on this this little break here, we did have some increasing volume to the downside. So that is bearish, and this is actually a little bear flag. Technically, this should be broken to the downside, but I'm not discounting Bitcoin or Ethereum at this point. They are holding up just underneath this trend line. That means that if someone lights a fuse underneath this thing and decides to put some volume into it, these could run. And the second these break this trend line, we could be in for another bull cycle. So just keep that in mind. We could still fail here. We could cross these trend lines. Either one is an option at this point in time. We're getting to quieter volume now, as you can see. The equilibrium is kind of starting to get a little more equal. You know, we're starting to find some balance here. We just need to find a force. We need to be pushing one way or the other, and then we can go ahead and call it a day and actually, you know, actually make some trades. So anyway, there you go, guys. Analysis for today. Not too much happening. We're still stuck in a holding pattern. You just have to be patient. All right, guys, have a good one.